FNAF being so popular obviously got itself some fan versions, some being fairly tame like Five Nights at Candies, and others being more disturbing like Final Nights and Joy of Creation. But nothing is quite as horrific as Dormitibus. With an incredibly messed up story and haunting character design, you'll see why this is probably the scariest FNAF game of all time. Because Dormitibis Animatronics are what we're exploring today. Let's do it. In at 10, Dawnbreaker. Aside from being the reward for a Daedric side quest, Dawnbreaker was expected to be an antagonist in the now cancelled Dormitibus Remastered. Dawnbreaker appears to be a heavily damaged purple mangled animatronic, the design of which was based on Shadow Freddy from FNAF 2, and presumably on the purple animatronic hoax character. By his design, he's very similar to the Havoc animatronics. His torso is ripped and torn up, large tears exposing the endoskeleton underneath, several limbs with hooks instead of feet are sticking out of his torso and out of his head, making Dawnbreaker appear similar to a spider. And I think we all know how I feel about that. Any animatronic that looks like a spider needs to be put down and sent back to the depths of hell from whence it came. In at 9, Springlich. Springlich was a character in the Dormitibus beta. Not much was ever planned for him, and he was one of the two characters modeled by Golden Nexus, both of which didn't make the final cut. Springlich's body is actually turned the opposite direction to its head. This would have made it constantly walk backwards, which was actually going to be a part of its minigame. That way it was possible to make him stumble and fall, causing him to become stunned. They appear to be a Springlock victim, as they have what appears to be either blood vessels or muscles inside their suit, and they have a decaying head in their mask and only one eye. They have long strips of withering on their mask, and their lower jaw is heavily worn down. Different sized holes cover the rest of their body, especially in their torso and their upper arms. And at 8, the Havoc Puppet. He is responsible for the creation of every animatronic in the game aside from one. Havoc Puppet is formed by a cracked and distorted version of the puppet's original mask, which is now missing its lower half. The head has a small hole placed right above where the mouth would be, and two white pinprick pupils on the inside of empty sockets, which presumably are pitch black. The lower missing half of the main mask features 7 black tentacle-like extensions, 3 at the back and 4 at the front, kinda like a weird mullet. The side 2 and the front are used as legs, while the other 2 at the front seem to be like arms, which is just all kinds of wrong. The back 3 tentacles also seem to be like tails. I don't know why those aren't the legs, but whatever. It also has a crack on the top of its head, and you know, it's wrong. Okay, it looks like a giant messed up spider, and like I said, we all know how I feel about spiders. I hate them. And at 7, Molten Evil. Molten Evil is basically the shadow body of Dormitibus. It was a Springlock victim, and it is heavily implied to be related to RWQFSFASXC. Molten Evil is a pure black animatronic rabbit that is melted. They look very similar to Toy Bonnie, and it's most likely meant to be Shadow Bonnie. Molten Evil looks close to what Toy Bonnie looks like, but with some key differences. He is entirely black, and appears to have a grimy looking texture to them. His eye sockets are filled with a white color and a white substance, which is most likely plasma. Get your mind out of the gutter, which is actually also seeping out from their eyes, and it's running down their face a la Crying Child, which hadn't actually been introduced yet, interestingly enough. All of his teeth are glowing a bright white, and so is his bow tie, and his bow tie, however, has melted slightly, making it lose its original shape. Don't all these animatronics just seem friendly to you? And at 6, Havoc Freddy. Havoc Freddy is a distorted manifestation accident, both from Havoc Puppet, who attempted to make a physical body for the spirits in Purgatory from plasma. When alive, the spirit's name was Ted. Get it? Ted became Fred? Never mind. Havoc Freddy bears a slight resemblance to his real counterpart, but for the most part looks very different. He mainly consists of a slightly dark brown color scheme, and he has a giant hole in the right side of his mask, revealing a large portion of his endoskeleton. His right eye hangs out of this hole by a few wires, consisting mainly of a black color with a red pupil. His left eye has a blue color to it, like his real counterpart. His eyebrows look rather large, with his right one just missing a small amount of itself, and his top hat appears to be just fine, though it may have some slight damage done to its base. A 2-segment long arm is connected to the left side of his head, with it wearing no suit on it, and the hand for the arm appears to be missing a finger segment, and it's also holding a microphone. Havoc Freddy doesn't have a suit for his lower jaw, and his entire jaw is just hanging low, wobbling to and fro by just a couple wires, and the rest of his body is just destroyed, which makes it extremely unsettling. Halfway through, and at number 5, the BOA. The BOA, otherwise known as the Box of Abominations, is a nickname that I gave my sister. Just kidding. It's an animatronic hybrid from the same game that makes us all beg for death. Haha, yeah. The main head for the BOA belongs to Toy Freddy. He has no ears connected to his head, and his top hat has a few holes in it, resulting in wires poking out. Toy Freddy has a small hole right above his right eye socket and a slightly bigger hole on the right side of his head. He's missing his right eye, and his right eye socket has melted slightly. His remaining eye is pure white along with his iris. He has no eyelids, and neither do any of the other heads. Yeah, that's right, this one has multiple. Both his upper jaw and lower jaw have melted along with his cheeks. This has also caused his endoskeleton jaw to be revealed more, even when his jaw is closed. In at 4, Soul Cage. The Soul Cage is an animatronic from Dormitibus, and it resembles a lamp that has 4 heads of Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica. Basically, it's an animatronic based on the bad ending from FNAF 3. The Soul Cage is made up of some props from Fazbear's Fright. The base of the Soul Cage is Bonnie's torso, with Bonnie's head being connected to it. Chica's head is connected to the left side of the main torso by a metal rod, and on the right side of the main torso is Freddy's torso, which is being connected to the main torso by 2 metal rods. Freddy's torso is tilted to the side, making him stick out, and Freddy's head is connected to his torso as well, luckily. Foxy's head is connected to the main torso by a rather long metal rod, which is actually coming out of the back, which is weird, and Foxy's head is positioned right above Bonnie's head. Each head that the Soul Cage has contains a single light source in their left eye socket. Each head also has large, sharp teeth in their jaw, because of course they do. They had to have something more, right? Like, it wasn't enough to just have 4 heads. You have to make them have razor sharp teeth too. They also have a grimy looking texture to them, which may be a reference to the fire at Fazbear's Fright, but can't be certain because I didn't design the character. Freddy, Bonnie, and Foxy also don't have their ears anymore, and there's 4 robotic legs because why the hell not? Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Havoc Chica. Do I need to explain? Havoc Chica, aka Maria, is a Havoc animatronic that hails from the Dormitibus universe. She is a Havoc version of Chica, obviously, and is a failed attempt by the Havoc Puppet to give her spirit a physical form. While having the same color scheme as Chica, the two look nothing alike, alright? Not at all. The mask that Havoc Chica wears has a good amount of damage done to it. Her right eye socket has grown in size, arching upwards towards her feathers. The rest of her mask has small withering in a few places, mainly near her right eye socket and her forehead. She has no eyes at all, resulting in her being blind. Her jaw isn't directly connected to her head like Chica from FNAF 1, and instead her jaw looks more like her withered counterpart. Her jaw has withering on the sides of it and some towards the front. Her entire head is attached to a suitless limb segment, making her stick out in a way from her body. It's just grotesque and nauseating to look at. She looks like a chicken, like when they're like trying to get seeds. She looks like that. Just look at what they did to my baby. Look at how they massacred my girl, Chica. But ultimately, in at number 2, Golden Call. Golden Call is more or less like Springtrap design-wise. He's a spring-locked suit with a corpse inside of him, and he has become green due to his color rotting away. Half of Golden Call's left ear is bent, causing it to stick out in an angle. His other ear looks fairly intact, other than some slight withering on its sides. His black top hat also has some slight withering on it, mainly towards the base and sides, and he has one small hole above his right eye socket from some withering. Of course, it's withering, alright? It's withered. It's very withered, but it's not a withered animatronic. The hole also appears to be connected to his right eye socket, making it slightly bigger than normal. On the left side of his head, there's a larger hole, and he has a bit more withering on the sides of his head too, and another batch of some red substance is sticking to this section of his head, which is most likely blood or flesh or something similar. Golden Call also has a set of endoskeleton eyes in his head that have red pupils, and the eyes of his corpse are hanging out of their eye sockets and appear to be blue, which is wonderful because that means I can relate. He has slight withering on his snout, his lower jaw has been slightly degraded on the edges, and then inside there's 2 large things, okay? What organs this could be are unknown, but his entire torso is also heavily worn down, and his pelvis has a single hole in the front that it reveals like some more blood vessels, because of course it does. It's just disgusting. Finally, in at number 1, Garvey. Garvey is the Dormitibus version of Springtrap. Garvey is the penultimate antagonist in Dormitibus. As a human, he was the man who killed the missing children. He later went on to get trapped in Spring Body, becoming Springtrap, and then was burned to a permanent death in the Fazbear's Fright fire. He looks absolutely horrific. The suit on his limbs and body are heavily tattered and shredded, and his organic remains are far more visible than they were with Springtrap or Scraptrap. His lower jaw is deformed and broken, which it actually disappears on at least one occasion, showing Garvey's corpse mouth and jaw. Garvey now has an unnatural animalistic-like stance, walking on all 4 of his limbs. His limbs also appear to be snapped in multiple places, alluding to these limbs being bent in unnatural ways, and the fact that his left hand serves as a foot and his left foot serves as a hand. I don't want this anywhere near my life, okay? He is also much bigger than Springtrap or any other threat in the game, okay? He's absolutely terrifying and scarier than any of the animatronics in this game or any other fan game, hands down. And he was made before the Afton name reveal, so it's not even Afton. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shower, Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. I need to go find Jesus.